Hey everyone, it's after dark, so the lighting is a little bit weird now. It's getting darker much earlier these days, and I think London gets darker earlier than it does in, say, Montreal, Ottawa. It's dark before 4 p.m. I'm not sure what time the sunset was today, but as of a few days ago, it was like 10 to 4. So yeah, it's dark, and we're getting closer and closer to the holidays. I only have a couple of months left here. Not even. I have less than 2 months left in London, and I'll come back in the spring for graduation, but I'm thinking about, what I'm doing for the months between. And so I've been looking at workaway opportunities, and I'm getting more and more excited about the chances of going to like Portugal or Spain or France or somewhere and just exploring the other options in other parts of the world, seeing a little bit more of Europe, and just traveling. Hopefully, it would be really cool to be on an organic farm. There were a lot of options for that, so I might do some organic farming, hanging out in nature, stuff that I love to do. I guess organic farming, I don't really know that I love to do it. I just think that I'll love it based off of loving nature and wanting to know how things grow. So yeah, I've been looking at the things that I have, and I need to whittle things down and sell things, get rid of things so that I don't have as much stuff and can move a little bit more easily. And this week, I had one of those magical days where I just wandered according to my intuition and found myself at this market that was... This week was kind of all about going to unexpected markets by following my intuition. So the one that I went to on Sunday is very close to here, and I don't know, I just got this intuition that I should turn down a road. It looked like just a residential area, and then I found that there was this market that was there, and I got to know some of the people who were there, and I think I'm going to go and like contribute and actually do some tarot readings and maybe even sell some things, some used clothes and stuff there. So yeah, I started talking with one of the founders of the market, and we got along so well on so many different dimensions, and I just want to hang out with them more. So I'm excited to go back. And then before that, I went on like this epic bike ride. I decided to it was a beautiful sunny day. Though I think it was just warm. It was just a warm day, but it became a beautiful sunny day, but not until later. And initially it was just warm and overcast, and I went for a cycle along the river, and then I ended up like diverting off to, once I got to like Hackney area, Hackney Wick, I diverted off and went up another canal, and then over to Victoria Park and Regent's Canal, and ended up just really enjoying wandering around. And then on my way back, it got really beautifully sunny, and I sat down in London Fields, and I just sat down and was kind of people watching, and I had like a notebook with me, so I wrote a little bit, and then I went to the end of London Fields because I saw that there was like a bunch of people just sort of gathered out there, and I really was curious about what was going on. And it turns out there's this whole street fair. So I ended up like walking up the street and seeing like, there were various, everywhere there were people selling food, there were people selling gifts and used books and clothes, and I went into some of the shops. It was just really nice being around so many people, the liveliness of it. I ended up talking to some of the vendors. There was one that she's from Brazil and was making all this like really interesting jewelry that had like a really nice style to it that I thought was really cool. And then when I came back, I saw that there was another market like around the corner, but it was a Christmas market. And I thought like, well, let's see what this is about. And so I went around to that one, and it was, basically a parking lot with like a couple little kiosks, and there wasn't really very much in there. There was a little bit of used clothing. But what they did have there was they had like a campfire, and you could go and you could buy, marshmallows and roast marshmallows by the campfire. And I didn't really particularly care too much to pay a bunch of money to roast some marshmallows. Coming from Canada, I've done quite a bit of that in my life. So I just sat by the fire, but then there were a few, there were some young Italian ladies who decided to sit down and do some marshmallow roasting. And so we ended up hanging out a bit, and they even like shared their marshmallows with me because they realized pretty quickly that it wasn't really something that they actually enjoyed. They just had seen it in movies and always wanted to try it. So I ended up having some roasted marshmallows and hanging out, and then I cycled back. And yeah, it's been a very nice sort of reflective time. Yeah, it's been a challenging but interesting and fairly relaxed time. I've been getting more and more into editing my book, which I'm a little more than a third done editing at this point. And it's getting to a place where it's a little bit more engaging. Like the preamble of getting to know the characters is kind of, we're through that main sort of opening, describing the story, describing the setting, the situation. So we're past that, and we're getting into the part of the book that is around it's Halloween in my book. And so my goal is to be able to like edit close to this time. So I've done like a few chapters in quick succession, and hopefully a few more, so that I can get into like the Christmas season and be editing that during the Christmas season, so that I'm like in that mentality while it's happening. So I'm focusing on that. And I also, now that I'm done my degree, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to use it, one thing that I realized that I did quite well with making videos, making nutritionally based, evidence-based videos. And I have a lot of fun making videos. So I started thinking like, maybe I should start making videos. And I thought about Dr. Greger's nutritionfacts.org and how they have these really great videos that are very, serious science-based videos, gives you a lot of like the evidence for various like compounds in vegetables, and how to eat for different health benefits or health problems. And I didn't realize that they actually had a few like long form videos out. So you can actually watch like a 50-minute video from nutritionfacts.org. And I found it on Canopy. And then I discovered that you can actually run screenings of these. So I thought it might be kind of fun to organize some screenings, do some Q&As, and maybe through that, if people are interested in working with me one-on-one, I'm happy to do that kind of stuff to sort of like help coach people. And speaking of coaching, I also, I don't know if this might be a scam, but I've signed up to do a free day of learning how to, it's like a masterclass on life coaching and hypnosis at Birkbeck. And I thought, that sounds interesting. I'm really curious to see what that's going to be about. I mean, it's free, so there's no stakes really. And I'm just curious to see if it's even like, if I show up at that time, that day, will something be happening? Am I going to learn anything? So I'm just curious to see if it's a scam or not. But if it's not a scam, and I show up and I get training in hypnosis and life coaching. I think that would be really interesting. I'm not sure how much I would integrate that into what I do or what I can do, but I think it's definitely very interesting. I think what I find interesting about hypnosis is that it's one of many ways that you can kind of tap into your inner ability to make changes. So what I mean by that is that the placebo effect is very well studied, very well documented. We know that if you believe that a certain treatment is going to have a certain effect, it's more likely to have that effect. Similarly, if you believe that certain things are not going to work, it is more likely that it will not work because you believe that it won't work. So even though this is well documented, there's, people are always like, that's whatever, like that's woo is like the term that a lot of people use. I absolutely hate when people use that term because what does it even mean? What are you talking about? The placebo effect, aka the power of belief, is actually quite strong and well documented. So, what are we doing here? So hypnosis is it's like an excuse to give someone permission to make use of that. If you can, tap into someone's sort of like subconscious level in order to make it work, to turn that function on, that seems like a really cool trick to be able to use, a really cool tool in your toolbox to help people live the life they want to live. And I met someone who was a hypnotist, and he told me that most of what he ended up doing was really talking with people, and that was really a lot of the treatment that was going on, was that like social connection and like listening to people and supporting them. So yeah, I don't know, I'm curious. I want to see what happens. So we'll see if I can become a hypnotist in like a day. I've also been prioritizing working out a little bit more in the last like couple of weeks. I kind of went back to it and then I like got sick for a little bit, and then that kind of threw me off, and so now I'm kind of back onto exercising a little bit more, and it's feeling really good. I'm glad that I'm prioritizing my own health. And tomorrow I have agreed to be on a recording. A trans singer-songwriter is doing this a cappella album, and I was asked. Someone had promoted it in a WhatsApp group, and I reached out to the songwriter, and we talked a little bit. There were a few things in the song that I ended up giving some critiques, which they were really like, they handled quite gracefully, I think, and anyways, we had a bit of a bonding moment of like songwriters working together for the good of the song. And so they've asked me to be a part of the recording and actually sing on it. So I'm going to do that tomorrow and see what happens. Wish me luck. Other than that, I'm getting cozy. I'm trying to prioritize my health, think about the future, and I'm also kind of thinking about like, where do I want to be in 6 months from now? I have already kind of committed to being in New York for a brief time, but after New York, I'm not really sure. So yeah, I don't know. If you have suggestions, I'm thinking that I've realized that there's a lot of benefit to living in a city where there are services to get around easier and things like that, but I also really, really miss being in the country and having lots of land that isn't constantly trafficked every day and, exploited all the time or controlled. I would love to have some natural bodies of water that few people frequent around me. And I'd love to do some off-grid living. So I'm hoping to do some of that in the next few months before graduation as part of workaway stays. But I'd like to, I guess I'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, I might look into trying to do that somewhere long term. Ideally, I would want to do that with a bunch of people who also want to do that, so that I'm not doing it alone. And so that I have community built up, and we're building community and building where we want to live together. I think that would be really beautiful. But where? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, if you have suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you're enjoying the festive season. I've been going back and looking, I've been getting nostalgic, going back over the last few years, and just what a wild ride it has been. Been getting back into some of my older music, the Thursday Colors album, and especially I released a reel of just some videos from London that I put to the soundtrack of one of the tracks off that album, Give Me to the Season, which, if you want to help me out and like make that go viral, that would be great. That would be wonderful. So please make some videos and make that the soundtrack, especially if you're on TikTok, because I feel like that's where things go viral. And my TikTok account, I'm locked out of it, and their customer service is so bad that I haven't been able to get back in. So I just decided, like, screw TikTok. But if you're on TikTok, use Give Me to the Season as your sound and make some videos. Who knows? Maybe it'll spiral out of control and I'll be a sensation overnight. Wouldn't that be cool? Anyways, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a wonderful season and taking lots of time to rest and reflect and figure out where you want to go. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.